We've all heard tiny tales of miniature Batmobiles, toy helicopters, and scale model White Houses, making some of the most iconic scenes in movies possible. But what if you wanted to go the other way? What if you wanted to make something big feel small? Well, turns out that's a thing. So the tilt-shift effect, or the diorama effect, is an incredibly effective technique. And I know it's effective because these are not photos of a cool little model train set. This is the 2012 Bond film, Skyfall.
I mean, they're on top of a train.
What's going on? Report.
It's rather hard to explain, Mom.
I mean, look at this opening title sequence from the 2010 Gulliver's Travels movie. And there's something about these shots. Maybe it's the way it makes big, complicated spaces feel simple and controllable, or the way it makes you feel whimsical. I don't know. But the best part of this technique is how it's made possible. All you really need is one of these, a tilt-shift lens. It looks pretty much like any other lens, but it's not, because it can do this and this, hence the name. I mean, for comparison's sake, this is how you shift focus with a standard lens, by moving the plane of focus closer or further away from the camera with your focus ring. But with a tilt-shift lens, you can do almost anything you want with that plane of focus, like rotate it up and down and left and right, as well as forwards and backwards. It's what makes tilt-shift lenses so damn cool. I mean, they can make their reflections disappear. But that's the shift function doing its thing. When we're talking about shrinking stuff down, it's the tilt in tilt shift that's important, because it allows you to do cool things like this, where only a vertical slice of your shot is in focus. That's the magic of shifting a tilt shift lens and how it messes with that plane of focus. I mean, that's how they shot the flashback sequences in the Assassination of Jesse James. And that's basically what's happening in these shots from The Social Network too, just horizontally. This is the diorama effect. Turns out, blurring the top and bottom of the frame pretty accurately replicates what happens when you view or photograph something small up close, that shallow depth of field. Take this really cool aerial shot from game night. Your brain knows this kind of shallow depth of field is impossible at full scale, and so it tricks itself into thinking this neighborhood is tiny. You see a similar thing in the floating shots over Tokyo in Enter the Void, and in the sweeping aerial shots in Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. There's a lot of history behind tilt-shift photography, which I'm not going to get into here, but if you are curious, photographer Ben Thomas has a brilliant little blog that showcases his own exploration into tilt-shift photography. The shots he captured are incredibly cool, and I'm not just saying that because he's a fellow Adelaidean. But what if I told you that these shots from Gulliver's Travels, The Social Network, and Game Night weren't actually captured with a tilt-shift lens? Turns out it's relatively straightforward to emulate the diorama effect with any lens, with just a little post-production magic. All you need is a shot from a high angle and a computer, preferably one hooked up to a decent monitor, like this 4K beauty from BenQ. Hello. I mean, look at it. It's beautiful. But seriously, I stare at a monitor all day, so a good one makes all the difference. And I'd daily drive this thing in a heartbeat. In fact, I have been while making this video. It's leagues better than my current display, and that wasn't exactly cheap either. The blacks are incredibly good for an IPS display, and the colors are factory calibrated too, so you better believe they are accurate. And the ability to have all my devices, my speakers, my USB hub, my keyboard, all connected with one Thunderbolt cable is a godsend. And that one Thunderbolt cable also keeps my Mac fully charged, even when I'm using power-hungry programs like After Effects to make fake tilt-shift shots. And it also has this cool hockey puck, so you can easily change your monitor settings on the fly. Plus, it has ICC sync that keeps the colors across your MacBook and display consistent. It's a 4K display built for the Mac, and you can tell because it works seamlessly with macOS. So if you are a Mac user and you'd like to know more about the PD3225U, check out the link in the description while I beg BenQ to let me keep this thing. So we've got this aerial shot of a city inside After Effects here, and everything looks the size it should. And all I really need to do to shrink this city down is to tell After Effects what I want in focus and what I want out of focus. And I'll do that by curating a blur map, something that looks like this. Essentially, white means out of focus, black means in focus. So if I had After Effects' handy lens blur effect, which is going to do pretty much all the heavy lifting to make this effect possible, you can see it just blurs the whole shot. But if I tell it to listen to the blur map, the whites and the blacks, you get this. And you can adjust the focus to suit and increase the speed of the shot, and boom, you have a pretty convincing diorama effect. And this post-production based diorama effect for video actually has its own name. The first example of Smallgantic appeared back in 2006 in Thorn Yorke's music video for the song Harrow Down Hill, directed by Chell White, albeit a lot more involved than what we did. And over the next 4 to 5 years, it would become a pretty popular trend. Just search Smallgantic on YouTube and you'll get dozens of videos from users trying their own hand at the effect. Even ESPN had to go back in 2011. So did Chicago's WGN News Channel in the very same year.
Watch Chicago's story unfold on WGN News, Chicago's very own.
Nowadays, Smallgantic is more of a rarity. Besides Game Night and the brilliant Love, Death and Robots short Night of the Mini Dead, there's not a lot of recent examples to point to, but that makes sense. It's a pretty niche effect. But what if it wasn't?